You will be less bothered by the noise around you the more self-conscious you pay. Everything else will align when you give your personal development top priority. Your development belongs to you. Stop comparing your trip to others and focus on your own progress. When you focus on yourself, you become unstoppable. Do you ever feel like you're constantly comparing yourself to others or trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing? It's easy to become lost in what's occurring around you. But here's the truth. Focusing on other people's life can push you further away from your own ambitions. Imagine if you focused all that energy into yourself instead, into your growth, your aspirations, your path. What would that look like? In today's environment, distractions are omnipresent, and it's easy to get caught up in the noise. But when you stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on what genuinely matters to you, everything changes. You become clearer about your goals, make stronger decisions, and start living life on your own terms. In this video, we'll go into why it's so important to focus on yourself and not others. We'll investigate how it can increase your productivity, deepen your relationships, and ultimately lead to a more satisfying and successful life. Are you ready to unlock your ultimate potential? Stay with me and let's get into it. Number 1, stay focused on what you can improve. The truth of life is that it will continually pull your attention in 100 places. It's easy to get caught up in everything that's occurring around you, what others are doing, what they have, what they've done. But none of it will bring you closer to where you want to be. Real progress begins when you choose to stay focused on what you can improve, not what someone else can fix, not what you think you're lacking, but the things in your life that you have the capacity to make better. Let's get one thing clear: you can't control everything. The world is chaotic, unpredictable, and full of things beyond your reach. But here's the good news: there are things within your reach. There are places in your life where your actions, decisions, and efforts can make a difference. That's where your emphasis needs to be. Take a time to think about this. What is one thing in your life right now that you know could be better? Maybe it's your physical health. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's a skill you've always wanted to perfect. Whatever it is, that's your starting point. Because improvement doesn't come by mistake. It happens when you decide to take charge of the things you can change. Now, staying focused on what you can better demands discipline. It involves being intentional with your time and energy. It means choosing to invest in yourself instead of getting sidetracked by what's occurring around you. And let's be honest, it's not always easy. There will be times when it feels like you're not making progress, periods when you're tempted to quit up. But those are the times that count most. Those are the occasions when you need to remind yourself why you started. Here's the thing about improvement: it's not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to alter everything immediately. You don't have to fix all your problems at once. But what you do need to do is take little, consistent actions every single day, because those modest steps build up. They produce momentum. They lead to transformation. And here's another truth: the process of improvement isn't always beautiful. It's not about massive, dramatic changes. It's about the silent, hidden labor you do behind the scenes. It's about waking up early to train while no one's watching. It's about choosing to read a book instead of mindlessly scrolling through your phone. It's about doing the hard effort that no one else will see but you. Let's speak about mentality for a second. When you focus on what you can better, you're transforming your perspective from one of limitation to one of possibilities. You're no longer focused on what you can't do or what you don't have. Instead, you're asking yourself, what can I do with what I have right now? This is a game changer because it puts the power back in your hands. And let's be real, Life is full of distractions, social media, other people's opinions, the continual comparison to others. It's all noise. When you focus on what you can better, you're choosing to tune out that noise. You're saying, I don't have time to worry about what someone else is doing. I have my own work to do, and that's a tremendous mindset to have. Now, let's get practical. If you want to keep focused on what you can improve, you need a plan. Improvement doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. Start by picking one area of your life that you wish to work on. Be specific. Don't just say, I want to get better. Say, I want to improve my fitness by running 3 times a week, or I want to become a better communicator by practicing public speaking. The more specific you are, the easier it will be to stay focused. Once you've identified your goal, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. Improvement can feel daunting if you try to handle everything at once. But when you break it down, it becomes doable. For example, if your objective is to get fit, start by committing to 10 minutes of exercise a day. If your objective is to master a new talent, start by committing 15 minutes a day to practice. The key is consistency. And here's something important. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not the reverse of improvement. It's a part of it. When you fail, you learn. You grow. You figure out what doesn't work so you can focus on what does. So instead of fearing failure, embrace it. See it as a stepping stone in your way to become better. Let me tell you something about effort. Effort is everything. It doesn't matter how talented you are or how much potential you have. What matters is what you do with it. When you put in the effort, when you show up every day and do the work, you prove to yourself that you're serious about growing. That effort adds up. It creates results. Now, let's talk about patience. Improvement takes time. It's not a quick remedy. It's not something that happens overnight. It's a voyage. And like any adventure, it demands patience. There will be days when it feels like you're not making progress, days when you question if it's even worth it. But let me tell you this, it is worth it. Every step you take, no matter how tiny, is a step in the right direction. And here's the beauty of focusing on what you can improve. It's powerful. It's a reminder that you have control over your life. You may not be able to control the things happening around you, but you can control your actions. You can control your decisions. You can control how you respond to challenges. And that's a tremendous thing. So let me ask you this. What's holding you back? What's blocking you from focusing on what you can improve? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the belief that you're not good enough? Whatever it is, it's time to let it go. Because the truth is, you are good enough. You have what it takes to become better. All you have to do is start. And here's one last thing to remember. Improvement is not a goal. It's a voyage. It's a lifelong journey of becoming the best version of oneself. So don't rush it. Don't compare your journey to someone else's. Just focus on taking one step at a time and trust that those steps will lead you to where you're intended to be. When you keep focused on what you can better, you start to see possibilities where there were once constraints. You start to discover that you're capable of more than you ever dreamed. And that realization, that's where the magic happens. The power of self, focus in today's fast-paced society, distractions are everywhere. From social media notifications to work demands, it's easy to lose sight of what genuinely matters to you. People are continuously tugged in several ways, leaving little room for personal growth, clarity, or even peace of mind. Yet, there's a secret strength in being able to devote your attention completely to yourself and your goals. This power is self-focus, and it has the ability to transform everything. How you approach life, how you achieve success, and how you find fulfillment. When you focus on yourself and your own growth, you make a conscious decision to prioritize what's actually essential. You eliminate the distractions and negative influences that could otherwise slow you down. Self-focus isn't about being selfish or neglecting the world around you. It's about directing your energy and attention on what matters most, your personal development. It's a purposeful choice to invest in yourself, your mental, physical, and emotional well-being without getting lost in the clamor of external expectations. When you focus on your goals, your wants, and your needs, you become more attuned to your inner self. This self-awareness helps you to make decisions that serve your fullest potential, free from the judgment or influence of others. In a world full of external pressures, it takes bravery to center yourself and make your own path a priority. At the heart of self-focus is the concept of clarity. When you are entirely focused on your own development, you gain a clear awareness of who you are, what you desire, and how to get there. Often, people wander through life unaware of their genuine desires because they're continually sidetracked by the needs of others. They can get caught up in someone else's expectations or continuously adjusting their emphasis based on what's current or popular. However, when you take the time to focus on yourself, you begin to realize what's important and what isn't. This clarity gives you a roadmap for your life, ensuring you're not just living in reaction to circumstances, but actively creating the life you want. Self-focus also strengthens your decision-making skills. The more you devote your attention inward, the more you learn to trust your instincts and intuition. You begin to grasp the choices that align with your beliefs and aspirations. Instead of being affected by the opinions of others, you build confidence in your capacity to make decisions that are good for you. This leads to a better feeling of self and a more confident approach to life. You stop second-guessing yourself and start trusting your choices because you've shut out the noise and zoomed in on your own priorities. Another major benefit of self-focus is its capacity to increase productivity and efficiency. When you focus entirely on your goals and divide them down into small chunks, you automatically become more productive. You cease wasting time on things that don't matter or being sidetracked by diversions. Instead, you develop precise aims and focus on accomplishing particular outcomes. Your energy is no longer distributed among a million activities or obligations. It's focused on what will get you closer to your dreams. This efficiency leads to faster development, more achievement, and a deeper sense of accomplishment. Self-focus also plays a critical part in controlling stress and anxiety. In today's environment, it's easy to get caught up in trying to do everything at once, which only leads to burnout. People typically strive to juggle numerous goals, always reacting to external expectations and never taking a minute to check in with themselves. This can lead to mental fatigue, emotional exhaustion, and a lack of satisfaction in life. When you practice self-focus, you reduce the distractions that contribute to overwhelm. Instead of getting bogged down by duties that don't correspond with your genuine goals, you prioritize what matters most. This helps you regulate your energy more effectively and minimizes burnout. The less you focus on everything and everyone else, the more you can handle the duties that align with your goals. One of the most transforming features of self-focus is its power to improve your relationships. When you focus on yourself and your needs, you create self-love and self-respect, both of which are crucial for healthy relationships. It's tough to contribute to others if you're empty inside. By focusing on yourself, you fill your own cup. And when you do that, you have more to give. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect, understanding, and support are the cornerstones of lasting relationships. However, you can't offer these things if you don't prioritize yourself first. Self-focus enables you to set boundaries, explain your requirements, and invest your energy in relationships that are truly supportive. As a result, these relationships become more meaningful and balanced since they are built on reciprocal self-awareness and caring. Additionally, self-focus builds resilience. Life is unexpected, full of hurdles, disappointments, and problems. However, when you focus on personal growth, you gain the emotional power to traverse hardships. You learn to bounce back from failures, adapt to change, and continue forward regardless of challenges. Self-focus helps you comprehend that obstacles do not define you. Rather, your response to them counts most. By regularly prioritizing self-improvement, you build resilience that helps you to confront any situation with confidence and strength. Another key part of self-focus is growing thankfulness. When you focus on yourself and your journey, you acquire a deeper appreciation for your development and the joys in your life. Instead of obsessing on what you lack or what others have, you become grateful for what is already available. This thankfulness turns your thinking from scarcity to abundance, inviting more happiness and opportunity. Gratitude also benefits mental health by developing a positive mindset, reducing worry, and increasing feelings of joy and happiness. The power of self-focus rests in its ability to ground you in the present moment. In a society where individuals are often distracted by the past or future, self-focus keeps you anchored in the now. It reminds you that the only moment that truly matters is the present. By focusing on the now, you let go of regrets and fears, engaging fully in your experiences and appreciating the journey rather than fixating on the end. This mindfulness reduces stress, increases well-being, and boosts life quality. Self-focus also improves self-awareness. By shifting your attention within, you obtain a clearer awareness of your strengths, shortcomings, desires, and worries. This self-awareness is crucial to personal progress, allowing you to discover areas for improvement while recognizing where you already shine. The more self-aware you become, the easier it is to make decisions that match with your goals. Additionally, self-awareness helps you detect when you're out of sync with your actual self, allowing a time to course correct before deviating too far off track. The freedom of focusing on yourself is a tremendous discovery. In a world that continually demands your attention and forces you to favor others, focusing on oneself is the ultimate act of liberation. It is choosing to invest in your well-being, growth, and happiness rather than being devoured by distractions. When you redirect your energy inward, you regain your power, rediscover your purpose, and unlock a life of true fulfillment. Let's be clear, when you start focusing on yourself, some people will misinterpret you. They may call you selfish, arrogant, or distant. But their opinions don't matter. What counts is your peace of mind and your ability to wake up each day feeling good about who you are and where you're heading. That's not selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you consistently prioritize others at your own expense, you will eventually burn out. And when that happens, you won't be able to help anyone, not even yourself. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean disregarding those around you. It means understanding when to say no, setting boundaries, and walking away from situations that no longer serve you. It's about knowing that your time, energy, and attention are limited resources. You cannot waste them on activities that drain you or distract you from your goals. When you focus on yourself, you are choosing to prioritize what genuinely matters. Here's the truth: life is short, and you don't get a second chance to live it. Every day spent worrying about others' opinions, seeking their approval, or comparing yourself to them is a day squandered. The liberation of focusing on oneself resides in letting go of external approval. You don't need anyone's permission to live life on your terms, nor do you need their approval to achieve your aspirations or feel worthy. Your worth is not established by others' opinions. It's determined by how you see yourself. When you focus on yourself, you begin to grasp what genuinely makes you happy. You start exploring your passions, embracing your strengths, and accepting your imperfections. You stop complying to others' expectations and start becoming the person you were meant to be. And that person is enough. You don't need to show your worth to anyone. You don't have to be better, wiser, or more successful to deserve happiness. You just have to be yourself. Focusing on yourself also involves taking responsibility for your life. You are in control of your future. You can't blame others for your issues or wait for them to solve them. You must take ownership of your decisions, actions, and outcomes. This is where true freedom begins. When you stop depending on people to solve your life, you understand that you have everything you need to create the life you want. Let's speak about limits. When you focus on yourself, limits become non-negotiable. You learn to protect your time and energy because you realize their value. You stop saying yes out of obligation and start saying no to maintain your tranquility. And here's the truth about boundaries. They don't simply benefit you, they benefit everyone around you. When you are happier, healthier, and more fulfilled, you can show up for others in a more meaningful way. So don't let anyone guilt you into thinking that boundaries are selfish. They are crucial for your well-being. Another transformation happens when you focus on yourself. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is a thief that robs you of joy, confidence, and clarity. When you're continually looking at what others have or what they've achieved, you lose sight of your own journey. But when you focus on yourself, you stay in your lane. You stop worrying about who's ahead or behind since you're too busy working on your own ambitions. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you start to grow, evolve, and thrive. Focusing on oneself also offers you the freedom to make mistakes. You're no longer living under the strain of perfection or the dread of condemnation. You recognize that mistakes are a part of growth. They're not failures, they're lessons. And when you embrace those teachings, you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be frightened to fall. Because every time you do, you're one step closer to being the person you want to be. Let's address one of the biggest myths about focusing on yourself, the assumption that it's lonely. People think that when you prioritize yourself, you're distancing yourself from others. But the truth is, focusing on yourself generates deeper, more lasting friendships. When you know who you are and what you want, you attract individuals who connect with your values, respect your limits, and encourage your progress. You stop wasting time on shallow relationships and start creating true ones. And here's another truth. The freedom of focusing on yourself extends to your mental health. When you make yourself a priority, you learn to control your stress, cope with your emotions, and take care of your mind. You stop neglecting your needs and start practicing self-care. This doesn't mean indulging in ephemeral pleasures. It means performing the hard, essential work to heal, grow, and prosper. It includes seeking help when you need it, letting go of what hurts you, and building a life that supports your well-being. Focusing on oneself is not a goal, it's a journey. It's a daily commitment to show up for yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about choosing decisions that correspond with your beliefs, aspirations, and vision for the future. It's about taking tiny, consistent steps every day to become the person you want to be. And let me tell you this, every step you take is worth it. Every hour you invest in yourself puts you closer to the freedom you deserve. But here's the catch, focusing on yourself demands guts. It involves the strength to say no to diversions, to let go of unhealthy relationships, and to face the aspects of yourself you've been avoiding. It's not easy, but it's vital. Because the alternative is a life of regret, a life where you never fully lived for yourself. And that's no life at all. So what does freedom feel like? It feels like waking up in the morning and knowing that your choices are your own. It feels like gazing in the mirror and being proud of the person you see. It feels like living a life that's true to who you are, not who others want you to be. That's the kind of freedom that comes from focusing on yourself, and once you feel it, you'll never want to go back. Remember this, you are your greatest investment. The time, energy, and love you devote to yourself will always pay off. So don't allow anyone make you feel terrible about choosing yourself. Don't allow them convince you that their needs are more essential than yours. Because at the end of the day, the only one who's accountable for your happiness is you. And that's the greatest freedom of all. The freedom of focusing on yourself is about living life on your own terms. It's about breaking away from the expectations of others and establishing a life that feels right for you. It's about embracing your personality, your uniqueness, and your potential. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right time. Start now. Start today. Because the freedom you're yearning for is already within you. You just have to claim it. Number 4, be constant in your efforts. Consistency is the bridge between aspirations and achievements. No matter how large or little your dreams are, the only way to transform them into reality is by showing up every single day. It doesn't matter how talented you are, how lucky you get, or how many resources you have. None of that will work if you lack consistency. Being consistent in your efforts is what differentiates those who succeed from others who give up too soon. It's not about intensity, it's about persistence. Success doesn't come from what you do infrequently, it comes from what you do repeatedly. Think about it, consistency is what drives momentum. Imagine pulling a car uphill. The first few steps feel impossible, but as you keep pushing, step by step, the car starts to move. The more you push, the easier it gets. That's momentum. Consistency creates that same effect in every area of life. The modest, steady activities you take every day might seem insignificant at first, but over time they compound into massive effects. It's the power of accumulation. The goal is to stay consistent, even when it feels like nothing is happening, especially then. Here's the truth. Consistency is dull. There's no beauty in rising up early every day to work out, practice, or work. There's no pleasure in keeping to a routine when others are out having fun. But this is where most people fail. They crave excitement and resist discipline. They demand fast benefits without putting in the long-term effort. Consistency, however, needs patience. It's about sticking to the process, even when you're wary, disheartened, or not seeing quick results. It's about realizing that genuine growth happens behind the scenes long before anyone notices. Being constant in your efforts also involves embracing imperfection. You're not always going to get it right. Some days will be harder than others. You'll make mistakes, endure setbacks, and feel like giving up. But that's part of the trip. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up anyhow. It's about picking yourself up after every fall and continuing the road, no matter how hard it becomes. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who never quit. Consistency takes a clear vision. You can't stay consistent if you don't know what you're working towards. It's like attempting to hit a target in the dark. You need to know your goals, grasp why they matter to you, and break them down into doable steps. Once you have that clarity, consistency becomes easier. Every single move you take will feel like a step closer to your dreams. And with each step, your confidence grows. Believe in yourself and your ability to achieve everything you set your mind to. Let's speak about habits. Consistency is based on the foundation of excellent habits. If you want to be consistent, you need to build routines that complement your goals. Habits remove the guessing and turn purposeful effort into instinctive behavior. But here's the catch: establishing habits takes time. It's not about doing something properly for a week and expecting it to stick. It's about doing it every day for months until it becomes a part of who you are. The more constant you are with your habits, the stronger they get. One of the biggest difficulties to consistency is doubt. When things don't go as planned, when progress feels slow, or when the results don't meet your expectations, doubt sneaks in. You start thinking if it's worth it, whether you're capable, or whether you should give up. But here's the thing: doubt is a test. It's testing your devotion, your resilience, and your willingness to keep going. The best way to overcome doubt is to stay constant and keep taking action, no matter how tiny. Every step forward silences the voice of uncertainty. Consistency isn't only about work, it's about mindset. It's about showing up with the correct mindset, even when you don't feel like it. It's about keeping happy, focused, and motivated, no matter what challenges come your way. Your thinking defines your actions, and your actions shape your results. If you approach every activity with half-hearted effort, you'll get half-hearted outcomes. But if you approach every activity with the idea of delivering your best will continue to develop. Consistency converts effort into perfection. Let's not dismiss the role of discipline. Consistency and discipline go hand in hand. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation runs out. It's simple to be consistent when you're motivated, excited, and full of energy. But what happens on the days when you don't feel like it? What happens when life becomes tough, distractions build up, and your ambitions start to feel impossible? That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to. It's saying no to excuses and yes to development. Being consistent in your efforts also involves learning to pace yourself. It's not about achieving everything at once or burning yourself out. It's about developing a sustainable rhythm that you can maintain over the long run. Think of it like running a marathon. If you start sprinting, you'll exhaust yourself before reaching the finish line. But if you maintain a steady pace, you'll not only finish, but finish strong. Consistency is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about taking modest, intentional moves every day rather than making massive, unsustainable leaps. Another key feature of consistency is adaptation. Life is unpredictable and things won't always go as planned. But consistency doesn't imply steadfastly sticking to a plan that no longer works. It involves staying devoted to your aims while being flexible in your approach. When barriers arise, find a way around them. When setbacks arise, change your strategy. Consistency is about staying the course, not staying stuck. It's about being persistent, not stubborn. The most constant people are also the most adaptive. Consistency also creates trust, both with others and with yourself. When you constantly show up for your goals, you prove to yourself that you're capable, reliable, and strong. You start believing in your abilities to overcome problems and achieve great things. Self-trust is powerful. It motivates you to take bolder risks, set higher goals, and strive for more. Consistency turns self-doubt into self-confidence. It's a daily reminder that you're capable of greatness as long as you keep turning up. Let's talk about time. Consistency teaches you to respect time because you recognize how much of it is squandered on distractions, procrastination, and excuses. When you're consistent, you learn to prioritize. You stop spending energy on things that don't matter and start focusing on what does. Every minute becomes an opportunity to go closer to your goals. When you regularly make the most of your time, you achieve more in months than most people do in years. Consistency is the secret to unleashing the full potential of your time. Here's a hard truth: success is not assured. Even if you're consistent, there's no assurance that things will work out the way you want them to. But here's the flip side: inconsistency guarantees failure. If you quit up, slack off, or stop trying, you'll never reach your goals. Consistency might not guarantee success, but it promises growth, progress, and that you'll become a better, stronger version of yourself. So why not give it your all? Why not be constant and see how far you can go? Consistency also shapes your persona. The more constant you are in your efforts, the more you tend to regard yourself as someone who is focused, disciplined, and driven. This self-image becomes a driving force. It motivates you to keep going, even when things get rough. It reminds you that you're not just working toward a goal, you're becoming the kind of person that achieves their goals. Consistency is not just about what you do, it's about who you become in the process. At its root, being consistent in your efforts is about respect. It's about appreciating your ambitions, your potential, and your future. Every action you take, no matter how tiny, is a step toward honoring that regard. When you're consistent, you're reminding yourself that your dreams matter, that your hard work matters, and that you matter. You're establishing a life that reflects your beliefs, your objectives, and your actual self. That is the ultimate kind of respect. The strength of prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. It's about realizing that your time, energy, and peace of mind are not endless. The strength of prioritizing yourself rests in the reality that you cannot pour from an empty cup. When you consistently contribute to others at the expense of your well-being, you set yourself on a path to burnout, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. By putting yourself first, you ensure that you have the capacity to give, grow, and prosper. Prioritizing yourself isn't about disregarding others. It's about ensuring that you're the strongest version of yourself so you can be there for others when it truly counts. Friends, family, job, and even strangers tug at you from every way. But here's the truth: not everyone deserves a piece of you. You can't say yes to everything and expect to preserve equilibrium. Prioritizing yourself requires setting limits and knowing when to say no. It's about preserving your time and energy from being drained by people or situations that don't correspond with your goals or ideals. Saying no doesn't make you nasty or uncaring. It makes you savvy. It shows that you value yourself enough to guard what matters most. One of the hardest facts to accept is that you can't make everyone happy. No matter how hard you try, there will always be those who criticize your decisions, question your priorities, or expect more than you can give. But here's the thing: your life isn't about impressing others, it's about living truthfully and keeping loyal to yourself. When you prioritize yourself, you stop chasing outward affirmation and start finding fulfillment within. You know that your worth isn't defined by how much you do for others, it's determined by how much you honor your own wants and goals. The strength of prioritizing oneself also comes from the clarity it gives. When you focus on your own well-being, your objectives, and your desires, you obtain a greater sense of direction. You stop wasting time on distractions and start putting your energy into what genuinely counts. Prioritizing yourself helps you understand what's worth your time and effort. It reduces the noise and allows you to concentrate on constructing a life that aligns with your ideals. This insight is empowering. It provides you the confidence to make decisions that promote your growth rather than decisions that keep you stagnant. Let's talk about self-care. Prioritizing yourself includes taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical health. It's about understanding when you need relaxation, when you need help, and when you need to step back from overwhelming situations. Self-care isn't indulgent or lazy. It's important. It's what keeps you grounded, focused, and capable of tackling life's problems. By prioritizing self-care, you give yourself the strength to confront adversities with fortitude and grace. You learn to treat yourself with the same care and compassion that you provide to others. Prioritizing yourself also entails letting rid of harmful relationships. Not everyone in your life is destined to stay. Some people sap your energy, violate your limits, or hold you back from fulfilling your potential. The strength of prioritizing yourself resides in your ability to identify when a connection is no longer serving you and having the guts to walk away. Letting go isn't easy, but it's vital. It makes space for healthier, more meaningful friendships that uplift and encourage you. Prioritizing yourself involves surrounding yourself with people who value you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. Another component of prioritizing yourself is knowing your worth. When you prioritize yourself, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You quit accepting behaviors, relationships, or environments that don't correspond with your beliefs. You recognize that you're not compelled to stay in locations where you're not respected, appreciated, or valued. Prioritizing yourself involves having the strength to demand better for yourself and the guts to walk away when your needs aren't being met. It's about selecting yourself every single time, no matter how difficult it may feel. The strength of prioritizing oneself also rests in the ability to focus on your personal improvement. When you prioritize yourself, you make room for self-improvement, learning, and development. You invest in your talents, your hobbies, and your dreams. You develop goals that match with your vision for the future and take decisive efforts to attain them. Prioritizing yourself is taking command of your own narrative. It involves becoming the creator of your own story rather than having others dictate the plot. It's about establishing a life that represents your beliefs, your passions, and your purpose. Prioritizing yourself also teaches you the power of balance. It's not about disregarding people or ignoring responsibilities. It's about finding equilibrium that allows you to take care of yourself while still being there for those who matter most. It's about knowing that you can't offer your best to others if you're not giving your best to yourself. Balance is a talent that involves practice, patience, and self-awareness. When you prioritize yourself, you learn how to maintain this balance and create a life that feels satisfying rather than stressful. Here's a painful truth. Not everyone will understand or support your decision to prioritize yourself. Some individuals will perceive it as selfish or unneeded. They might try to guilt you, pressure you, or make you feel like you're doing something wrong. But their opinions don't define your worth. When you prioritize yourself, you learn to let go of the desire for external validation. You start trusting your own judgment and listening to your own intuition. You realize that you're the only one who actually knows what's best for you. Prioritizing yourself also entails taking control of your time. Time is your most valuable resource, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. When you prioritize yourself, you stop spending time on things that don't matter and start using it intentionally. You focus on activities that provide you joy, growth, and contentment. You set boundaries to safeguard your time from being swallowed by unnecessary commitments or diversions. Prioritizing yourself involves understanding that your time is precious and treating it with the respect it deserves. The strength of prioritizing oneself is also about resilience. Life is unpredictable and obstacles are inevitable. But when you prioritize yourself, you gain the mental and emotional stamina to meet these obstacles head on. You learn to rely on yourself, trust your own strengths, and bounce back from failures with determination. Prioritizing yourself offers you the ability to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and courage. It reminds you that no matter what occurs, you have the strength to keep moving forward. Prioritizing yourself also helps you find your full potential. When you stop placing others' demands ahead of your own, you make space to pursue your passions, abilities, and goals. You start to see what you're genuinely capable of achieving. You discover that you have so much more to contribute than you ever anticipated. Prioritizing yourself isn't about restricting your focus. It's about increasing it. It's about unlocking the opportunities that come from investing your time and energy to your own progress and happiness. Prioritizing yourself sets an example for others. When you make yourself a priority, you show others that it's all right to do the same. You inspire people to set limits, care for their well-being, and pursue their own ambitions. You become a role model for self-respect and self-love. Prioritizing yourself isn't only a gift to you, it's a gift to people around you. It produces a ripple effect of empowerment and positivity that stretches far beyond your own life. The strength of prioritizing oneself also rests in the calm it brings. When you stop trying to meet everyone else's expectations and focus on your own, you relieve yourself from unnecessary tension and anxiety. You construct a life that feels true and consistent with your ideals. You feel happiness in knowing that you're living in a way that honors your genuine self. Prioritizing yourself isn't about seeking perfection. It's about finding comfort in who you are and where you're headed. 6. Build a routine that serves you. Building a habit that serves you is one of the most powerful things you can do for your life. It's about taking control of your time and building a day that helps you grow, stay focused, and move closer to your goals. A solid routine doesn't happen by accident. It's planned and strategic. It's something you construct based on your values, needs, and priorities. You cannot expect success or fulfillment if you don't take the time to influence the way you live each day. A routine that serves you is more than just a set of tasks. It's a foundation that supports your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. The first step in developing a routine that serves you is recognizing your goals and priorities. Without a strong idea of what you aim to achieve, your daily routine will lack direction. You need to know where you're heading before mapping the path. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish today? What is significant to me? What are my long-term goals? These questions will aid you in developing your routine. A program that benefits you is created around your specific goals, which is why no two routines look the same. It's not about imitating someone else's plan. It's about establishing one that matches your life. Once you know your goals, the following stage is setting priorities. Not everything on your to-do list requires the same level of attention. When designing your routine, prioritize chores that take you closer to your big picture goals. It's easy to get sidetracked by minor, inconsequential tasks, but a well-structured routine keeps you focused on what truly counts. For example, if personal improvement is a priority, spend time daily to reading, learning, or acquiring new abilities. If fitness is crucial, arrange regular workouts. Prioritizing permits you to give your energy to what has the largest impact on your life. Time management is vital for developing a habit that serves you. There are only so many hours in a day, so you must spend them properly. Effective time management is about making every moment count. Start by evaluating how much time you have in a day and splitting it into chunks for different activities. Be realistic about how much time each task demands. Avoid overscheduling yourself, as that can lead to burnout. The idea is to develop a habit that feels sustainable, not overwhelming. When you manage your time well, you make more space for the things that are actually important. Building a routine involves discipline. But with excellent time management, it becomes simpler to stick to. Creating a morning routine is a game changer. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. A routine that serves you begins with intention from the time you wake up. If you start your day by checking your phone or rushing into work, you enable outside forces to rule your day. Instead, consider beginning your morning with an activity that establishes a pleasant and constructive tone, whether it's meditation, stretching, reading, or writing. A morning routine doesn't have to be long or complicated. It's about setting aside time for yourself before the chaos of the day begins. When you start your morning in a calm and focused way, you'll be more prepared for whatever comes your way. Building a routine also entails setting boundaries. Your time is valuable, and to build a routine that suits you, you must guard it. That involves saying no to distractions and disruptions. It involves establishing space for your priorities without letting other people's expectations take over your day. Set clear boundaries for work, family, social media, and other areas of life. Let folks know when you're available and when you need time for yourself. Boundaries help you keep control over your day and prevent fatigue. When you develop a routine that serves you, you're not simply managing your time, you're protecting your energy. Balance is key in building a well-rounded regimen. A solid routine supports all elements of your life, physical, mental, and emotional. You don't want to focus only on work while disregarding your health. A balanced regimen ensures you're taking care of yourself in all areas. This balance looks different for everyone, but it's crucial to incorporate time for activities like fitness, leisure, relationships, and personal growth. A good routine should reflect the whole spectrum of your needs. When you develop a routine that serves you, you'll find yourself prospering in numerous aspects of life, not just one. Another crucial part of a routine that suits you is consistency. The power of regularity is in repetition. Small, persistent activities generate momentum and lead to big results. A routine won't function unless you commit to it regularly. Some days will be harder than others, and it's tempting to get discouraged, but keeping consistent, even on rough days, builds resilience. Consistency allows you to make progress, even if it's gradual. Over time, those small everyday behaviors build up. Whether it's reading a few pages in the morning, working out for 20 minutes, or setting aside time for reflection, consistency makes all the difference in generating permanent change. Flexibility is also necessary while developing a regimen. Life is unpredictable, and things don't always go as planned. A routine that helps you doesn't imply rigorously keeping to a precise schedule. It entails being adaptable. If something unexpected arises, allow yourself the freedom to change your schedule or shift responsibilities, but the idea is to keep focused on your long-term goals. A flexible regimen helps maintain balance even in hectic circumstances. It's about realizing that life may throw curveballs, but that doesn't mean you must quit your routine totally. Another key component of developing a habit that serves you is tracking your progress. It's easy to feel like you're not making headway if you don't have a way to measure your efforts. Tracking your progress keeps you motivated and reminds you that your routine is working. Whether it's keeping a journal, utilizing an app, or setting up a checklist, choose a strategy that works for you. Tracking helps you recognize how far you've come, even if the effects aren't immediately visible. It creates a sense of accomplishment and promotes the belief that your routine is leading you in the right direction. When developing a routine, it's vital to avoid perfectionism. Many people get caught up in the concept that their routine must be flawless. They feel like if they don't do everything flawlessly, then they've failed. This thinking might lead to dissatisfaction and disappointment. But the truth is, No one's routine is perfect. There will be days when you miss a workout, forget to meditate, or fall behind on a project. That's okay. What matters is getting back on track and not letting those setbacks disrupt your entire routine. A regimen that serves you isn't about being perfect, it's about growth. Focus on making little improvements and let go of the urge to be faultless. A schedule that serves you also involves having time for rest. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget that rest is crucial for productivity. If you push yourself too hard without pauses, you'll eventually burn out. A solid schedule includes time for relaxation and recovery, whether it's a full night's sleep, a day off from work, or a short break during the day. Make sure you're giving yourself the time you need to refuel. Rest is just as vital as work because it allows your mind and body to recover and operate at their best. Building a routine that serves you requires making time for things that bring you delight. It's not just about getting things done, it's about having a fulfilling life. Make sure to schedule time for hobbies, socializing, and activities that make you happy. A successful routine should contain moments of delight and creativity. These moments give you the energy to keep working toward your goals and help you stay grounded. When you develop a routine that suits you, you're not just going through your day, you're living a life that feels rich, satisfying, and important. Master the art of discipline. Discipline is one of the most significant abilities you can learn in life. It's the difference between reaching your goals and falling short of your potential. Discipline is the cornerstone of success, the ability to stay focused, make the right decisions, and take persistent action even when it's difficult. It's not something you're born with, but something you cultivate over time via conscious effort and dedication. Discipline doesn't come easy, but once you comprehend its importance and start using it in your daily life, you'll notice incredible results. The first step in mastering discipline is knowing why it matters. Discipline is the backbone of every successful person's life. It's the reason people attain their goals, whether personal, professional, or academic. Without discipline, it's easy to get distracted, postpone, and give up when things get tough. Discipline keeps you on path even when motivation diminishes or problems occur. It helps you to take action when others manufacture excuses. When you accept discipline, you stop being controlled by urges and start taking charge of your life. Developing discipline starts with defining clear goals. Without defined, quantifiable, and realistic goals, there's nothing to attach your efforts to. You need a firm sense of direction to lead your discipline. If you don't know what you're working for, it's easy to get diverted by diversions or other people's demands. Goals give you something to aim for and provide the drive to be disciplined. Make sure your goals connect with your beliefs and long-term vision, then break them down into smaller, doable actions. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, discipline becomes a lot easier to sustain. A crucial part of discipline is self-control. Self-control implies overcoming the desire to give in to distractions, procrastination, and short-term pleasures that derail progress. It's easy to get caught up in fleeting pleasures, but discipline teaches you to think long-term and prioritize what truly counts. Self-control isn't about denying yourself, it's about picking the best decision for your future self. You may have to say no to things you want in the now, but keeping disciplined will bring larger rewards down the road. Practice saying no to distractions and see how your ability to focus and stick to your goals increases with time. One of the most crucial components of learning discipline is forming excellent habits. Habits are the building blocks of discipline. When you build positive habits, you don't have to think twice about doing the right thing. You do it instinctively. Discipline becomes easier when your behaviors are ingrained in your everyday habit. Start small by focusing on one or two beneficial behaviors that will get you closer to your goals. Over time, as these behaviors become second nature, your discipline will grow. For example, if you want to enhance your physical health, commit to working out for just 20 minutes a day. As you make this a habit, your discipline will automatically grow into other aspects of your life. The key is consistency. Once you build a habit, it's much easier to sustain discipline. Discipline is also about managing your time effectively. Time is your most valuable resource, and how you use it decides whether or not you achieve your goals. When you master time management, you make space to focus on what's truly important. Prioritize projects that match with your goals and avoid wasting time on items that don't contribute to your growth. A disciplined individual is mindful about how they spend their time. Use tools like calendars, to-do lists, or apps to help manage your day. Break major activities into smaller, achievable steps and focus on one task at a time. By being disciplined with your time, you'll ensure that every moment counts toward your achievement. Mastering discipline also demands the ability to resist gratification. It's easy to expect immediate benefits, but the reality is that success requires time and hard work. Delaying gratification is choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasures is crucial. Instead of giving in to quick satisfaction, discipline encourages you to focus on the greater picture. This can entail sacrificing time with friends to focus on a project or putting in extra hours at the gym instead of sitting around. While delayed gratification can be tough, the return is immense. The discipline to wait gratification today will offer you the freedom and success you desire tomorrow. Another key component of discipline is persistence. It's easy to keep disciplined while things are going well, but what about when circumstances are tough? Mastering discipline involves having the tenacity to keep going even when the route is rough. Life isn't always plain sailing, and you will experience hurdles, disappointments, and failures along the path. However, disciplined individuals recognize that these problems are only part of the path. They push past problems and keep pushing forward. Persistence is the capacity to maintain your eyes on your goal, no matter how hard things get. Keep focused, keep consistent, and remember that discipline is about progress, not perfection. It's also necessary to establish mental toughness when practicing discipline. Mental toughness is the ability to stay strong and resilient in the face of adversities. When you're mentally tough, you can push through discomfort and keep going even when you feel like stopping. Mental toughness is acquired over time by regularly practicing discipline, setting and attaining small goals, and developing a strong mindset. The more you push yourself to stay disciplined, the greater your mental resilience gets. When you meet hurdles or disappointments, mental fortitude allows you to stay focused on your goals without giving in to negativity or doubt. Accountability is another crucial part of discipline. It's easy to find excuses when you're working alone, but having someone to hold you accountable helps keep you on target. Find a mentor, a coach, or a buddy who can check in with you periodically and remind you of your goals. Accountability partners encourage you when you're feeling discouraged and celebrate your victories along the way. They assist, keep you dedicated to the goals you've established, and provide essential perspective when you feel lost or uncertain. Surround yourself with individuals who support your ambitions and are committed to your achievement. Mastering discipline sometimes entails embracing discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. Discipline demands you to venture outside of what's known and push yourself to take action, even when it seems uncomfortable. Whether it's working out when you don't feel like it, tackling a demanding assignment at work, or having a difficult conversation with someone, Discipline involves addressing discomfort head on and doing what needs to be done. The more you practice walking into discomfort, the simpler it gets to stay disciplined in other aspects of your life. It's through difficulty that we develop and improve, and mastering discipline involves welcome that challenge rather than avoiding it. Another crucial part of discipline is self-reflection. To completely master discipline, you need to routinely analyze your progress and discover areas where you can improve. Take time to think on your actions, habits, and decisions. Are you staying disciplined in the areas that matter most? Are there areas where you could push yourself harder or be more consistent? Self-reflection helps you stay honest with yourself and offers you the information needed to continue evolving. It's easy to get caught up in the daily grind and forget to take a step back and analyze your efforts. But regular self-reflection keeps you connected with your goals and ensures that your discipline is working for you. Finally, discipline demands self-compassion. No one is flawless, and you will slip up from time to time. It's natural to get disappointed when you miss a goal or break a habit, but mastering discipline requires not beating yourself up over mistakes. Instead of obsessing on failures, use them as learning opportunities. A disciplined individual realizes that setbacks are a natural part of the process and doesn't let them define their journey. Practice self-compassion by forgiving yourself and getting back on track fast. Remember that discipline is a long-term commitment, and mistakes are only part of the learning process. Mastering the art of discipline is a lifetime journey. It takes time, work, and dedication, but the results are well worth it. Discipline is what divides the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers. When you learn discipline, you take control of your life and your destiny. You become the person who gets things done, overcomes hurdles, and achieves goals. So start today. Commit to mastering discipline and see as it affects every area of your life. Take ownership of your path. Taking charge of your path is one of the most powerful choices you can make in life. It involves taking full responsibility for where you are and where you wish to go. It's about knowing that your life, your choices, and your future are in your hands. No one else is accountable for your success or failure. It's easy to throw fingers at circumstances, other people, or other forces when things don't go the way you desire. But the instant you stop blaming and start embracing your journey, everything changes. The ability to shape your life is within you. When you take responsibility of your path, you're making a commitment to stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen. It means comprehending that every decision you make, big or small, has a direct impact on your life. Your work, relationships, health, and happiness are all outcomes of the decisions you make each day. Taking ownership isn't about blaming yourself for mistakes. It's about taking responsibility for the path you're headed in. It's recognizing that you are the creator of your story and you hold the pen. The first step in taking ownership is recognizing the reality that you are in control of your own life. No one is coming to save you. You cannot wait for chances to find you. You have to create them. You can't rely on luck or expect that someone else will make things happen for you. Taking control demands a shift in thinking. It's no longer about being a passive participant in your own life, waiting for things to fall into place. It's about actively molding your reality and realizing that the decisions you make will impact the conclusion of your story. One of the biggest hurdles to taking control is the fear of failing. Most people are hesitant to take complete responsibility for their actions. But genuine progress begins when you embrace the notion that your destiny is in your hands. Many people live in fear of making errors, constantly worried about what will happen if things don't go as planned. However, the truth is that failing is part of the process. Failure isn't something to fear. It's something to learn from. Every setback offers a lesson, and every mistake is an opportunity to progress. When you take responsibility of your journey, you stop seeing failure as something to avoid and start seeing it as a vital step on the way to success. Embracing failure is one of the most significant components of taking ownership because it helps you to go forward without the fear of mistakes. Taking ownership also entails making decisions with intention. It's easy to slip into the trap of making decisions based on what others want or expect from you. But when you take charge of your life, you stop living according to other people's expectations. You begin making decisions that match with your values, aspirations, and vision for the future. This may require saying no to things that don't serve you, even if they seem enticing at the moment. It's about doing what's right for you, not what's easy or what others believe is best. Another crucial component of taking ownership is knowing that your time is valuable. Too many people squander time waiting for the perfect moment or for someone else to make things happen. But time doesn't wait for anyone. If you're serious about taking responsibility of your life, you need to start acting now. Stop procrastinating and waiting for the proper conditions to fall into place. There is no perfect moment. The greatest time to start is now. Take responsibility of your time and utilize it wisely to construct the future you want. Every minute you squander is a minute you can never get back, so be intentional with how you spend your time. Another crucial step in taking responsibility is defining clear, actionable goals. When you set goals, you provide yourself a blueprint for success. Without defined goals, it's easy to get confused, sidetracked, or wander aimlessly through life. Setting objectives provides focus and direction, but taking ownership means you're not simply setting goals, you're also assuming full responsibility for attaining them. This demands persistent action, being engaged, and pushing through the hurdles that will definitely come. Your goals should challenge you, but they should also be achievable with the right work and mindset. It's crucial to reduce major goals down into smaller, more doable tasks to prevent feeling overwhelmed. Accountability is another key component of taking ownership. When you take ownership, you're not only responsible for your acts, but for the outcomes as well. This includes holding yourself accountable for the progress you make toward your goals. It's easy to make excuses when things aren't going well, but taking accountability means refusing to let yourself off the hook. You must stay dedicated even when things get bad. If you're not progressing toward your goals, take a step back and assess what you're doing incorrectly. Adjust your strategy, learn from your mistakes, and keep moving ahead. Accountability guarantees that you stay focused and devoted to your mission, no matter the hurdles. Taking ownership also entails adopting a growth attitude. When you have a growth mindset, you feel that your abilities and intelligence can be developed through work and practice. You perceive problems as chances to learn and grow, not as impediments to achievement. People with a development mentality recognize that they can change their situation, no matter how challenging it may seem. When you take responsibility of your life, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as someone who can overcome problems, develop new skills, and eventually build the life you desire. One of the most fundamental lessons in taking control is learning that nobody owes you anything. You are accountable for your success, and no one is going to hand it to you on a silver platter. The world doesn't owe you prosperity, happiness, or anything else. If you want something, you have to go after it. Taking ownership means rejecting the concept that you're entitled to anything. It implies knowing that your achievement is the consequence of your own work, not someone else's. Taking ownership also entails letting go of the past. Too many people allow past mistakes, failures, or tragedies to define them. But accepting ownership requires you to remove the hold that the past has on you. Your history does not influence your future. You cannot move forward if you're continually gazing behind you. While it's vital to learn from your errors, you cannot allow them prohibit you from taking action today. Let go of the past, forgive yourself, and go forward with confidence. Self-belief is vital in taking responsibility of your path. You have to believe in your potential to achieve, even when others question you or when things don't go as planned. Self-doubt can be a significant challenge, but when you take ownership, you learn to trust yourself and your judgments. Believe that you have what it takes to create the life you want. Cultivate self-confidence by focusing on your strengths and reminding yourself of your past triumphs. You've previously overcome problems before, and you have the strength to do it again. Taking ownership involves accepting responsibility for your happiness. It's easy to blame others or external events for your misery, but when you take ownership, you understand that you have the capacity to create your own happiness. Happiness isn't something given to you. It's something you make by selecting how you respond to life's trials. When you take charge of your journey, you stop relying on others to make you happy. Instead, you generate your own joy by choosing to focus on the positive and being appreciative for what you have. Taking charge of your path doesn't mean that everything will be simple. There will be difficulties, setbacks, and failures along the path. But when you take control, you don't see these obstacles as roadblocks. You see challenges as opportunities to learn, grow, and strengthen your commitment. The more you take charge of your life, the more resilient you become. You learn to tackle obstacles head on, knowing that they are part of the process. The road may not always be smooth, but you will always be in charge of your destination. Finally, set standards that push you forward. Setting standards that push you forward is one of the most powerful methods to ensure that you don't settle for mediocrity and that you continue to grow and improve. When you create goals for yourself, you define the level of perfection you anticipate in every area of your life. Standards are not only about what you do. They represent who you are and what you stand for. They represent the boundaries you set for your behavior, habits, and successes. When you set high expectations, you are creating the framework for a satisfying and successful life. A life of purpose and accomplishment without set standards is like floating without direction, never attaining your full potential. But by setting firm standards, you construct a roadmap that leads to a more fulfilled version of yourself. The first step in developing standards that move you ahead is knowing the difference between goals and standards. Goals are precise objectives you wish to achieve, like completing a marathon, creating a business, or saving a certain amount of money. Standards, on the other hand, are the traits or behaviors you demand from yourself every day. They are the non-negotiable qualities of your character and work ethic, regardless of circumstances. Setting high standards is not about perfection, but about continually striving to be your best. When your standards are high, every action becomes intentional, and you're always going for greatness. One of the biggest obstacles in setting high standards is avoiding the desire to lower them when things get rough. It's easy to give up or compromise on your standards when life brings obstacles. However, the real growth occurs when you refuse to lower them. The idea is to set criteria that are hard but achievable, aiming for greatness while being realistic about what you can accomplish. Setting criteria that push you forward assures you develop daily, even if it's just a bit at a time. Another key component of defining standards is connecting them with your beliefs. When your standards match your underlying convictions, They go beyond rules, they become a way of life. For instance, if you value honesty, your norm might be to act honestly and transparently, no matter the situation. If you appreciate hard labor, your standard could be to offer your best effort in everything, whether it's a huge endeavor or a minor chore. When your standards connect with your values, keeping committed to them becomes simpler because they reflect who you are, not just what you should do. Setting high expectations also means refusing to accept for mediocrity. This is where many falter. They do just enough to get by, meeting the bare minimum. However, developing expectations that propel you ahead demands going beyond the minimal. It implies striving to achieve the next level, even when you don't feel like it. This could require working an extra hour, putting in more effort, or learning new skills. When you set high expectations, work is no longer optional. It becomes a part of your personality. You expect excellence from yourself, and as a result, you achieve what others only dream of. Your standards should also be specific. Simply declaring, "I want to be successful," or "I want to be better," isn't enough. You need to establish exactly what success looks like for you. For example, if success implies financial independence, your criteria can be saving a particular amount of your income every month. If personal improvement is a priority, your standard could include reading a specified amount of books per year or consistently mastering new skills. The more detailed your standards, the easier it will be to stay focused and motivated. Hazy goals lead to hazy results, but when your standards are clear, you know exactly what you're working for and what's expected of you. One of the most effective methods to set standards that push you ahead is by surrounding yourself with people who hold you accountable. The people you associate with have a major impact on your standards. If you surround yourself with folks who settle for mediocrity, you're inclined to do the same. However, when you surround yourself with dedicated, ambitious individuals devoted to quality, it challenges you to elevate your own expectations. Find people that challenge you, hold you accountable, and inspire you to keep pushing forward. Consistency is crucial in building standards that propel you ahead. It's simple to establish high expectations for a short time, but the real test is maintaining those standards over the long term. Success doesn't come overnight, and setting standards that push you ahead involves committing to daily greatness. It's about creating habits that correspond with your expectations and making them part of your routine, whether it's waking up early, exercising regularly, or committing to excellent work. Consistency guarantees that your values don't remain mere ideals. They become your reality. When you set criteria that push you ahead, it's crucial to remember that growth is a process. You will suffer setbacks, and there will be days when you fall short of your standards. The secret is not to quit. If you miss a day or fail to fulfill a standard, don't give up. Use it as a learning experience. Understand what went wrong, adapt your strategy, and keep moving forward. The most successful people aren't those who never fail, they're the ones who keep going after failure. High standards don't mean perfection, they represent resilience and a commitment to ongoing progress. One of the most effective benefits of setting high standards is the greater self-discipline it brings. Self-discipline is the capacity to stay focused on your goals and put in the effort required to attain them, even when you don't feel like it. Setting high standards drives you to acquire self-discipline, as you cannot reach your standards without it. Over time, when you constantly work toward your ideals, self-discipline becomes second nature. This not only helps you achieve your goals, but also spills over into other areas of your life, making you a more disciplined person overall. Setting criteria that propel you ahead also recognizes the potential of modest development. You don't need to make big jumps every day, but consistent growth is crucial. When your standards are challenging yet doable, and you put in the work daily, modest increments add up over time. The goal is to be dedicated to the process, no matter how slow the development may seem. Every time you meet a criterion, you move one step closer to the life you want to create. Over time, these modest actions compound, leading to huge changes in your life. Another strong feature of setting standards that push you ahead is the confidence it develops. When you commit to high standards, you begin to picture yourself as someone capable of doing tremendous things. The more you satisfy your standards, the more confident you get in your ability to accomplish your goals. Even bigger achievements come from this confidence. It drives your drive and keeps you moving forward, even in the face of adversity. Remember, adopting standards that push you ahead isn't just about achieving in one area of life. It's about fostering an attitude of constant development and greatness. When you set high standards, you raise the bar for your personal growth and success. Your standards establish the person you become and shape the quality of your life. Maintaining high standards involves commitment, discipline, and consistency, but the rewards are tremendous. By increasing the bar and continually pushing yourself to achieve your own expectations, you ensure steady progress toward your objectives and the life you want to create. When you take responsibility of your standards and make them non-negotiable, you unlock your entire potential, paving the path for a life of purpose, success, and fulfillment. 10. Stop letting distractions control you. In today's society, distractions are everywhere. From the continual ping of notifications to the relentless lure of social media. It frequently feels like there's always something competing for your attention. However, if you want to accomplish anything substantial, you must learn to quit allowing distractions control you. These hidden assassins of productivity, attention, and advancement deplete your time, energy, and potential. Yet many people allow distractions to rule their life, squandering hours, days, or even years to inconsequential things. If you're truly committed to personal progress and achievement, you must take control. The battle is between your goals and the distractions keeping you from them, and winning needs intention, discipline, and attention. The first step to overcoming distractions is acknowledging their existence. Distractions aren't simply external, they're internal too, emerging as ideas, doubts, or impulses that take your attention away from what truly counts. It's easy to feel that distractions are simply part of modern life, and in many respects they are. However, the actual difficulty emerges when you let them dominate your time and thoughts. The more you indulge in distractions, the harder it becomes to break free. Your ability to focus is like a muscle. If you don't train it, it decreases. Distractions operate as weights, stopping that muscle from developing stronger. If you allow yourself to be constantly tugged in multiple directions, your progress will always be slow and inconsistent. One of the most powerful methods to recover control is to establish what matters most to you. When you have a clear vision of your goals and what you want to achieve, it becomes simpler to avoid distractions that don't correspond with your purpose. Without a defined path, distractions are significantly more appealing because there's no strong sense of urgency or purpose leading you. Uncertainty makes it easy to meander and get caught up in useless activity. But once you clarify your purpose and set specific goals, distractions lose their appeal. They're no longer just innocuous diversions, but hurdles standing in the way of what you actually desire. Another key component in resisting distractions is building an environment that supports your focus. Your surroundings play a huge effect in your capacity to concentrate. If you're continuously in a distracting environment, whether it's a cluttered workstation, excessive noise, or frequent interruptions, it becomes nearly impossible to stay focused. You need to create a space that reduces distractions. This can require setting boundaries with people, organizing your office, or suppressing notifications on your devices. By consciously organizing your environment to foster focus, you make it simpler to stay in the zone. The fewer distractions you have to battle against, the more mental energy you can spend to your priorities. Managing technology is one of the major obstacles when trying to avoid distractions. In the digital age, our cell phones, laptops, and other devices are continual sources of disruptions. The impulse to check your phone every few minutes can derail even the most productive individuals. The trick is to create hard boundaries for yourself. You must control your devices rather than having them rule you. One approach to achieve this is by setting particular times for checking texts and social media instead of doing it spontaneously throughout the day. If needed, employ programs that prevent access to distracting websites or applications during focused work hours. The more you separate from your electronics while working, the more productive and less distracted you'll become. Another useful method is learning to say no. Many distractions come in the form of requests from others. People constantly ask for your time, attention, and energy. However, if you want to stay focused on your priorities, you must learn to say no. Agreeing to everything is saying no to your own aspirations. Every time you accept something that doesn't correspond with your aims, you invite another distraction to take control of your life. Saying no might seem uncomfortable, but it's a crucial ability to protect your time and energy. When you say no to distractions, you're saying yes to your own success. You're choosing to focus on what's genuinely important instead of letting external pressures determine your schedule. A crucial element of fighting distractions is training your mind to focus. Our minds are continuously assaulted with information, making it easy to lose concentration. One of the most effective ways to increase your focus is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves devoting full attention to the current moment without judgment. When you're mindful, you notice when your thoughts begin to wander and gently return them back to the activity at hand. You can practice this through meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply becoming more conscious of your thoughts throughout the day. The more you train your mind to be present, the better you'll grow at rejecting distractions. Like any ability, focus increases with continuous practice. Time management is another crucial component in limiting distractions. When you manage your time properly, you create structure and discipline, making it tougher for distractions to take over. One practical way is the Pomodoro technique, which entails working for 25 minutes followed by a 5-minute rest. During each work session, you focus exclusively on a single task. Once the timer goes off, you take a little break before resuming the cycle. This strategy helps prevent burnout while also ensuring that you stay focused during work hours. By defining defined time chunks and sticking to them, you make it simpler to reject distractions and stay on target. Accountability also plays a vital role in reducing distractions. When you have someone to check in with, whether it's a buddy, mentor, or colleague, you're more likely to stay focused. Accountability gives a sense of responsibility that pushes you to stay on track. When you know someone else is aware of your goals and efforts, you're less likely to give in to distractions. If you don't have someone to hold you accountable, consider finding a partner or building a system where you can measure your progress and report it to someone else. Accountability offers a dimension of commitment that helps you stay focused. A huge component of preventing distractions is learning to control your energy. Distractions typically slip in when you're emotionally or physically fatigued. If you're fatigued, your willpower is reduced, and you're more inclined to give in to distractions. That's why it's crucial to emphasize self-care and energy management. Take pauses when needed, get enough sleep, consume healthy foods, and make time for exercise. When your energy is high, your ability to focus and resist distractions rises dramatically. It's not simply about working harder, it's about working smarter. By taking care of your body and mind, you're setting yourself up for improved focus. Building a routine that supports your goals is another great method to eliminate distractions from influencing you. When you have a routine, you construct a structure that controls your day. Routines lessen the likelihood of distractions since they eliminate decision fatigue and keep you on track. Start by setting a morning routine that sets the tone for your day. This could involve things like journaling, exercising, or examining your goals. A well-established schedule makes it easier to stay focused and productive throughout the day. If you don't have a schedule, distractions will always have room to slip in. Finally, it's crucial to be gentle to yourself when distractions happen. No one is flawless, and you will surely fall up from time to time. The idea is not to beat yourself up or let guilt overwhelm you. Instead, acknowledge the distraction, learn from it, and refocus. The more you practice, the better you'll get at rejecting distractions. Over time, you'll build a stronger sense of control and willpower, making it simpler to stay on track and attain your goals. Focus on what you can control. In life, there's so much that's out of our hands. We can't control other people's actions, the economy, the weather, or countless other things. If you spend all your time focusing on problems beyond your control, you will rapidly get overwhelmed, frustrated, and stuck. That's why it's vital to focus on what you can manage. By narrowing your attention to the areas of life that are within your reach, you gain clarity, power, and the ability to take meaningful action. Focusing on what you can control empowers you to achieve positive change in your life, regardless of external circumstances. It's the only way to break free from powerlessness and start moving forward. The first step in focusing on what you can control is identifying the areas of your life where you do have influence. These categories often include your mentality, your actions, your reactions, your habits, and your decisions. Your mindset impacts how you see the world and how you respond to problems. It's the prism through which you interpret every encounter. Your actions, meanwhile, are the steps you take toward your goals, and your emotions are how you respond to life's adversities. Your habits are the daily routines that either propel you ahead or keep you trapped. Lastly, your decisions define the course of your life. As every decision you make influences your destiny. These are all areas of your life that you have the power to control. Once you determine the areas you can control, you can focus your energy and attention on improving them. One of the most powerful things you can manage is your mentality. The way you think about situations, obstacles, and setbacks will influence whether or not you succeed. A positive, growth-oriented mindset allows you to perceive obstacles as opportunities, failures as lessons, and setbacks as transient. On the other side, a fixed, negative thinking keeps you stuck, stopping you from moving forward. If you want to take control of your life, you must take control of your ideas. Begin by practicing mindfulness and self-awareness. Recognize when negative thoughts seep in and challenge them with positive affirmations or alternate viewpoints. Focus on what you can learn from every encounter and adjust your attitude toward progress rather than perfection. The more you practice this mentality adjustment, the easier it will become to retain a cheerful outlook, even in challenging times. Another crucial part of control lies in your behaviors. It's easy to feel powerless when things are out of your control, but the truth is, you can always take action. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. No matter what external circumstances you confront, there's always something you can do to move closer to your goals. The trick is to quit waiting for perfect conditions or the appropriate opportunity to act. Conditions will never be perfect, and waiting for the appropriate timing is only an excuse to procrastinate. Instead, commit to taking tiny, consistent steps every day. These activities don't have to be big or dramatic. Even tiny measures can pile up over time. The more you take control of your activities, the more momentum you develop and the more empowered you feel. How you react to the events in your life is another area where you may exert influence. Life isn't always going to go the way you want it to, and there will be plenty of problems, disappointments, and unexpected turns along the way. However, you always have power over how you respond. You can choose to react with anger, irritation, or despair, or you can choose to respond with calm resilience and determination. The idea is to take a step back and give yourself time to process before reacting. This permits you to make decisions based on logic rather than emotion. In challenging situations, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? What action can I do that will move me closer to my goals? Your reactions don't have to be knee-jerk responses. They can be intelligent, intentional reactions that correspond with your values and goals. Habits are another important area where you can exercise control. The habits you create either support your progress or impede it. If you're serious about attaining your goals, you must take control of your habits. Start by identifying the habits that are holding you back. These could include procrastination, negative self-talk, poor time management, or harmful lifestyle choices. Once you've identified these habits, replace them with constructive alternatives. For example, if you tend to procrastinate, set a timer and work in short bursts of focused time. If you battle with negative self-talk, practice appreciation and affirmations. Consistency is crucial when it comes to creating good habits, so be patient with yourself. Small changes made regularly over time can have a huge impact on your life. The more you focus on building positive habits, the more in control you'll feel. Another essential element of control is your ability to make choices. Every day, you are presented with decisions, both major and small. The choices you make affect the trajectory of your life. While you can't control every external element, you can always choose how you respond to them. You can choose to see every setback as an opportunity to learn, or you can choose to give up. You can choose to prioritize your health even when life becomes busy, or you can choose to neglect it. You can choose to invest in yourself and your growth, or you can choose to stay in your comfort zone. Your decisions are the most direct approach to take control of your life. Every decision you make has consequences, and every choice you make either pushes you closer to your goals or pulls you farther away. Focus on making aware, intentional choices that match with your values and ambitions. A key reason why people often feel out of control is that they let outside influences to determine their lives. Whether it's the opinions of people, cultural standards, or external events, it's easy to get caught up in what everyone else thinks or what you believe you should do. However, the only one who genuinely understands what's best for you is you. You don't need permission from others to take charge of your life. You don't need to adapt to anyone else's timeline or standards. When you focus on what you can control, you stop caring about the views of others and start making decisions based on what you want and need. This doesn't mean being selfish or ignoring the needs of others. It simply means accepting responsibility for your own life and not allowing anybody else to dictate your decisions or behavior. One of the most significant benefits of focusing on what you can manage is the sensation of empowerment it delivers. When you focus on what's in your power, you recognize that you are not a passive participant in life, waiting for things to come to you. Instead, you become an active maker of your world. You can shape the life you desire by focusing on the things you can affect, and over time, you'll begin to see results. A sense of control offers confidence, clarity, and peace of mind. You stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the captain of your own ship. Of course, focusing on what you can manage doesn't imply disregarding everything else. It doesn't mean pretending that external variables don't exist or that they don't affect you. It simply means that you choose to spend your energy on the things you have authority over. When you aim your attention and efforts toward the areas you can influence, you begin to take control of your life and your destiny. Instead of wasting time and energy worrying about what you can't control, you'll find that you have more resources to focus on the things that matter most. Number 12, consistency beats everything else. The world typically glorifies overnight success stories, individuals who seem to attain greatness with little effort or time. These stories are thrilling and motivating, but they are not the norm. The truth is, constant work leads to true, long-term success. No matter how smart, intelligent, or lucky you are, nothing beats the power of consistency. Consistency is the basis on which success is based. And it is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Success doesn't come from a single burst of effort. It comes from turning up day after day, even when it's hard, and continuing to put in the work no matter the outcome. The people who achieve great things are frequently those who just refuse to quit and continue to go forward one step at a time. In the beginning, when you're starting something new, it's easy to feel motivated. The enthusiasm of a new project or goal is electrifying, and you can work hard for a time. But eventually, that initial surge of enthusiasm starts to dissipate. Progress isn't as fast as you expected, and problems feel bigger than anticipated. At this time, many individuals give up. They hunt for shortcuts or get distracted by new options that seem easier or more thrilling. This is where consistency shines. When you continue to show up day in and day out, regardless of setbacks or slow progress, you begin to develop something powerful. You create momentum, and momentum is the secret to success. It's not about doing everything flawlessly or having the most talent. It's about completing the work consistently every single day, even when you don't feel like it. One of the major problems people face is impatience. We live in a society where everything is immediate, from food delivery to social media updates. We're used to seeing speedy results, and when we don't get them instantly, we feel disheartened. The problem with this approach is that it misses the power of long-term work. No one achieves greatness in a few weeks or months. Success is the result of years of steady work, even if that job appears monotonous or meaningless in the moment. For example, think of an athlete. An athlete doesn't become great overnight. It's the modest, persistent efforts, training every day, pushing through fatigue, keeping disciplined, that lead to success. The athlete might not notice immediate improvements, but by turning up day after day, they develop better, stronger, faster. Eventually, all those tiny efforts build up to something important. This notion applies to every sphere of life. Whether you're focused on your health, profession, relationships, or personal growth, consistency is the key to improvement. If you want to get stronger, you don't need to lift the biggest weights on your first day at the gym. What you need is to show up and lift weights consistently, even if the development is gradual. It's the same with your career. You don't have to land your dream job on day one. Instead, focus on showing up every day, giving your best effort, learning as much as you can, and pushing yourself to get better. Over time, your talents will develop, Your reputation will increase and opportunities will present themselves. Another key component of consistency is that it generates habits. When you are consistent in your behaviors, you begin to form habits that support your goals. Habits are the cornerstone of success. Once an action becomes a habit, it no longer requires substantial mental effort, it becomes automatic, and you may perform it without much thought. This is why consistency is so powerful. It helps you create routines that propel you forward, even when motivation disappears. For example, if you routinely wake up early and concentrate on your goals before the day becomes busy, ultimately this behavior becomes a habit. It becomes second nature, and you won't have to rely on inspiration to achieve your chores. You will simply do them because that's what you've trained yourself to do. Consistency also creates trust, both with others and yourself. When people see that you constantly show up and produce, they come to depend on you. Your reputation for being reliable, diligent, and dedicated increases, offering new opportunities for you. You become someone others want to work with or be around. But perhaps more crucially, consistency helps you create trust with yourself. When you continuously take action toward your goals, you start to trust your capacity to follow through. You prove to yourself that you can do what you set out to do, and this creates self-confidence. The more you demonstrate that you can be consistent, the more confident you grow in your ability to attain your goals. One of the greatest benefits of consistency is that it allows you to focus on the process rather than the end. When you focus entirely on the result, you could feel frustrated or discouraged when things don't happen as soon as you desire. However, by concentrating on constantly performing the task, the outcome takes care of itself. You quit stressing over the finish line and focus on improving every day. This shift in focus is tremendously freeing. It reduces the strain and allows you to enjoy the journey, knowing that each step puts you closer to your goal. It helps you be present and engaged in the process rather than fixating on when things will happen. Consistency also creates resilience. When you continue to show up despite setbacks and disappointments, you learn to handle adversity. You develop the ability to keep going even when things aren't going your way. Resilience is formed by facing obstacles frequently and conquering them. And that's exactly what consistency does. It encourages you to confront obstacles, but also provides you the chance to conquer them and grow stronger in the process. As you persevere through challenging circumstances, you gain the mental toughness needed to manage anything life throws at you. Consistency provides you a sense of control in a world where so much is beyond your control. It's easy to feel powerless, yet by persistently working for your goals, you take charge of your future. While you can't control external conditions, you can control your actions. By focusing on what you can control, your effort, perspective, and habits, you can achieve progress no matter what's occurring around you. This sense of control is empowering. It reminds you that your destiny is in your hands and that you are the one who shapes the fate of your life. While consistency is unquestionably significant, it's crucial to recognize that it doesn't mean perfection. Perfection is unachievable and might actually inhibit growth. Consistency is about turning up even when things aren't perfect. It's about making progress, not obtaining perfection. There will be days when you fall short, and that's okay. What matters is that you get back up and keep going. The goal is to be dedicated to the process, even on the bad days, and maintain focus on what you can manage. One of the toughest parts of consistency is battling the impulse to quit. It's easy to give up when things get tough, but this is when consistency is most vital. Quitting might seem like the easier choice in the short term, but it's the persistent effort that leads to success. When you feel like quitting, Remember that the most successful people didn't quit. They kept going even when it was hard. They kept turning up day after day. And that's what allowed them to achieve their goals. If you can push through those times of doubt, you'll be astounded at what you can accomplish. To achieve anything in life, whether success in your business, personal development, or health, the most significant focus should be on your habits. Your behaviors shape who you are and impact your outcomes. The truth is, it's not your talent, circumstances, or willpower that will bring you where you want to go. It's your habits, how you spend your time, the habits you follow, and the simple actions you perform each day are the building blocks of your future. So, the first step in attaining your objectives is to create habits that correspond with the person you want to become. Habits are strong because they allow you to take regular action toward your goals without having to rely on motivation. Motivation comes and goes and isn't always reliable. Some days you'll feel motivated and encouraged to take action, while other days you'll feel exhausted, distracted, or overwhelmed. That's when habits step in. When you have strong, goal-oriented habits, you don't need motivation to get things done. You merely follow your pattern, and over time, your activities add up to real progress. The first step in creating habits aligned with your goals is to clearly describe what you want to achieve. Many people get caught here. They make generic objectives like, I want to get fit, or I want to be successful. But these goals lack direction. You need to be specific. Instead of saying you want to get healthy, create a clear goal like, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months. Or, I want to run a 5K by the end of the year. But being precise about what you want to achieve, you make it easier to identify the habits you need to develop to get there. Once your goals are set, it's time to reverse engineer them. Think about what actions, habits, or behaviors will help you reach your goals. If you want to reduce weight, for example, habits that support your goal can include eating healthily, exercising consistently, and getting enough sleep. If your objective is to build your business, you might require habits like networking, learning new skills, and putting aside time each day to concentrate on your business. Take a thorough look at the everyday actions needed to attain your objective and start incorporating them into your life. Building habits that coincide with your goals involves consistency and dedication. It's not enough to try something once or twice and expect it to become a habit. A habit is created by repetition, and repetition takes time. Research says it takes an average of 66 days for a new habit to become habitual, although this varies from person to person. The key is persistence. Even when it seems impossible, progress is being made. As you persist, the behavior will become more normal and easier to maintain. One of the biggest barriers in forming habits is the tendency to seek fast cures or shortcuts. We live in a world that fosters quick gratification, where everything is just a click away. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking there's a shortcut to success, but the reality is that there are no shortcuts. No miracle drug can quickly make you fit, rich, or successful. Success comes from continuously showing up and completing the work, even when it's boring or unpleasant. The little regular activities are what compound over time, leading to real outcomes. To create habits that correspond with your goals, it's vital to start small. Don't try to transform your entire life in one day. Instead, focus on one habit at a time. For example, if your objective is to enhance your health, start by adding one nutritious meal each day. Once it becomes a habit, you can add more healthy meals or integrate exercise in your regimen. Starting with one modest improvement and steadily expanding on it puts you up for long-term success. These incremental, sustainable modifications will keep you moving forward without feeling overwhelmed. Tracking your development is also vital. Keeping track of your habits helps you stay accountable and inspired. You can use a habit tracker, a notebook, or an app to monitor your progress and see how far you've come. Seeing your progress graphically reinforces the behavior and motivates you to keep going. It's not just about accomplishing your goal, but about celebrating the steps you're doing toward it. Another key part of forming habits is being patient with oneself. It's tempting to get disappointed when results don't materialize immediately, but remember that habits take time to build. Success doesn't come immediately, and creating habits is part of a longer journey. If you miss a day or make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Instead, accept it, learn from it, and get back on track the next day. Perfection isn't the goal. Consistency is. The environment and people around you also play a crucial part in shaping your behaviors. Your environment has a strong impact on your conduct. If you wish to build healthy behaviors, ensure that your environment supports your aims. Stock your kitchen with healthful foods. Create a dedicated workout space and avoid distractions that can get in your way. Surround yourself with individuals who support your goals and urge you to stay on track. Having a support system can make a world of difference in adopting new behaviors. As you continue to establish habits aligned with your goals, you'll notice they begin to feel automatic, embedded in your daily routine. When you reach this point, you've successfully developed a habit, but the job doesn't stop there. Once you've established one habit, it's time to add another. Keep creating habits that support your goals, and over time, you'll see your life altered. One of the most significant qualities of habits is that they compound. When you continually participate in modest beneficial behaviors, they build up to achieve tremendous outcomes. Imagine spending just 30 minutes a day working toward your goals. Over the course of a year, that adds up to 182.5 hours, more than 7 full days of labor. Now, consider combining that with other habits like exercising, reading, or enhancing your talents. The cumulative effect of these behaviors will fast-track your achievement in ways you can't yet anticipate. Building habits that fit with your goals is the most effective strategy to assure long-term success. Success isn't about luck or talent. It's about constant effort and the habits you create. When you build habits that support your goals, you place yourself on the path to success. Start small, stay consistent, and be patient, and over time, those modest habits will lead to huge outcomes. Take control of your future today by creating habits that support your ambitions. Commit to progress over perfection. Perfectionism is a trap. It's an attitude that keeps you fixed, never actually moving forward. People often think success demands everything to be perfect, every detail, every strategy, every step. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. If you wait for perfection, you'll waste your life. Progress, however, is real. It's something you can measure, attain, and build on. Committing to progress over perfection is the key to unleashing your potential and accomplishing your goals. The reason perfectionism is so powerful is that it thrives on fear of failure, dread of mistakes, fear of inadequacy. These worries can immobilize you, making you pause, second-guess yourself, and delay taking action. Perfectionism convinces you that if you can't do something flawlessly, you shouldn't do it at all. But the truth is, taking imperfect action is vastly better than doing nothing. If you wait for the perfect moment, plan, or conditions, you'll be waiting forever. Success doesn't come from waiting, it comes from showing up, taking flawed action, and learning along the way. Think about every great person you admire. They didn't get where they are because they were perfect. They got there by committing to action, even when situations weren't ideal. They didn't wait for everything to match perfectly. They moved forward with what they had, made adjustments, and kept moving. The same applies to you. You don't need perfection right now. You don't need all the answers or resources. What you need is the commitment to take action, to keep going forward, and to learn as you go. Fear of failing is one of the largest hurdles to advancement. People often hold back, afraid to make mistakes, worried they'll look silly or be criticized. But failure is an integral component of success. Failure is how you learn. Growth happens when you make mistakes. You get essential lessons that help you grow for the future. Instead of dreading failure, accept it as a stepping stone toward achievement. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the faster you develop. Perfectionism often distracts you from what genuinely matters. When you're preoccupied with making things perfect, you spend too much time focused on little details, ignoring the greater picture. This can lead to lost time and energy. The quest of perfection makes you lose sight of what counts: progress. Instead of worrying with immaculate results, focus on taking consistent steps toward your goal, even if they are little. Every step forward, no matter how modest, is progress. Over time, those tiny steps lead to major effects. Perfectionism can also be detrimental since it leads to fatigue. When you're continuously chasing perfection, you're pushing yourself to achieve more, do it better, and do it flawlessly. This thinking might lead to tiredness and frustration. You may believe you're never doing enough, never good enough, and that no matter how hard you try, you're still falling short. This cycle drains your motivation and makes taking action tougher. When you commit to growth instead of perfection, you free yourself from this endless loop. You shift your attention from obtaining faultless outputs to making ongoing improvements. This move eases the strain you impose on yourself and helps you adopt a healthier, more sustainable attitude to your goals. Letting go of perfection also makes you more flexible and adaptable. When you're not attempting to fit everything into a flawless mold, you're more open to experimentation and adjustment. Life is unpredictable, and things rarely go as planned. By focusing on progress over perfection, you offer yourself the option to adapt your approach when circumstances change. You cease holding to strict preconceptions about how things should be, and instead, you focus on finding ways to keep going forward, no matter what hurdles exist. One of the most powerful ways to commit to progress over perfection is by setting realistic, achievable goals. If your ambitions are too huge, too complex, or unrealistic, you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead than focusing on an unrealistic ultimate goal, break it down into smaller, manageable steps. By focusing on gradual development, you may enjoy tiny triumphs along the road, which keeps you motivated and on target. Each victory, no matter how modest, pushes you closer to your ultimate objective and promotes the idea that progress is more important than perfection. Another key part of committing to progress over perfection is learning to be kind to oneself. Perfectionism frequently comes with a harsh inner critic that continuously tells you you're not good enough, that you need to do better, or that you're failing. This negative self-talk merely holds you back, making it tougher to take action and recognize your progress. Instead of being hard on yourself, practice self-compassion. Celebrate every success, no matter how tiny. Recognize your efforts and remember that every step forward, no matter how imperfect, is progress. Remember, development doesn't need to be perfect, and it's not necessarily linear. Some days you'll make enormous leaps, and other days you may take a step back. That's okay. The trick is to keep going. The more you focus on development, the more you'll learn that perfection is overrated. It's the consistent, tiny activities you perform every day that generate substantial change. When you prioritize progress, you begin to generate momentum, which makes it simpler to continue pushing forward. Surrounding oneself with encouraging people who share your commitment to growth can also be tremendously helpful. Seek out persons who motivate you to take action, who inspire you to keep going, and who help you stay focused on your goals. Being with people who are similarly devoted to growth generates a pleasant environment that keeps you on track. Avoid people who stress about perfection or make you feel like you're not doing enough. Instead, surround yourself with others who respect progress and remind you that growth is the aim, not perfection. Lastly, practice self-care and self-love. These are more than simply buzzwords. They're vital to living a balanced, fulfilled life. In a world that asks so much of you, it's easy to disregard your own needs. We often put others first, chasing affirmation or trying to meet unrealistic expectations. But without taking care of yourself, you can't give your best to others. A meaningful life begins with valuing your well-being, both intellectually and physically. Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself. It's about making conscious decisions that nurture your body, mind, and spirit. It's about respecting your limits, listening to your needs, and giving yourself space to recharge. Many individuals underestimate the significance of self-care because they regard it as selfish, but the truth is it's vital. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll eventually burn out. Self-care is about refilling your energy so you can show up as your best self. The first step is recognizing that you deserve it. Society often tells us that putting others first is admirable, yet this thinking leads to neglecting our own needs, producing stress and tiredness. The truth is, you can't give your best to others unless you take care of yourself first. This doesn't mean being selfish. It means acknowledging that your needs count just as much as anyone else's. When you prioritize self-care, you're not just increasing your well-being, but also better preparing yourself to care for others. Self-care is an ongoing discipline, not a one-time event. It entails simple, consistent choices that boost your health. Start with the basics. Get adequate sleep, eat wholesome food, and stay active. These simple behaviors can have a huge impact on your overall well-being. Rest is often disregarded, but is crucial for emotional management and cognitive performance. When you're well rested, you have more energy, better focus, and an enhanced attitude. Your body requires slumber to restore itself and perform at its best. Prioritizing sleep is one of the most effective methods to conduct self-care. Eating a healthy diet is equally vital for self-care. The meals you consume have a direct impact on your energy levels, mood, and physical health. Fueling your body with nutritious whole meals offers you the strength and vitality to conquer the day. Focus on what makes you feel good, rather than falling into the trap of restrictive diets or harmful eating habits. Self-care isn't about deprivation. It's about fueling your body with meals that help you feel your best. Exercise is crucial not just for physical health, but for mental well-being too. Regular physical activity has been demonstrated to lower stress, improve mood, and boost vitality. Find a form of exercise you enjoy, whether it's walking, yoga, or going to the gym. The key is consistency. Incorporating movement into your daily routine can not only increase your physical health, but also support your emotional well-being. Beyond physical care, it's crucial to focus your mental wellness. Practicing mindfulness is a fantastic method to improve your mind. Set aside time each day to check in with yourself, notice your thoughts, and acknowledge your feelings without judgment. Mindfulness helps you stay present and focused, allowing you to manage stress and anxiety more successfully. Meditation, journaling, and deep breathing exercises are fantastic strategies to cultivate mindfulness and care for your mental health. These hobbies allow you to disconnect from daily bustle and reconnect with yourself, fostering peace and clarity. Self-care also entails setting limits and learning to say no. Too often, People overcommit due to guilt or fear of disappointing others. While it's crucial to help others, it's also important to protect your own time and energy. Saying no isn't a reflection on your character, it's an act of self-respect. By setting clear boundaries, you take control of your life and make space for the things that actually matter. Saying no to activities that drain you or don't connect with your priorities is giving yourself the gift of time and energy to focus on what nourishes you. Self-love goes hand in hand with self-care. It's not just about taking care of your bodily and mental needs, but also about treating yourself with kindness and compassion. Many people struggle with self-love because they've been conditioned to believe they're not worthy of love or must continually strive for perfection. The truth is, you are deserving of love as you are. You don't need to earn it or prove it to anyone. Self-love is about loving yourself, flaws and all, and treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a close friend. It's about celebrating your achievements, no matter how modest, and appreciating your worth. One of the most powerful ways to develop self-love is through positive self-talk. The way you speak to yourself has a huge effect on your self-esteem and overall well-being. If you constantly criticize yourself, focus on weaknesses, or compare yourself to others, you'll never feel good enough. Instead, practice speaking to yourself with kindness and encouragement. Celebrate your triumphs, recognize your qualities, and remind yourself that you deserve love and respect. You are your own biggest advocate, and the way you say to yourself influences how you feel about yourself. Self-love also means letting go of negative thoughts and habits that keep you back. Many people carry limiting ideas, such as, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," or "I don't deserve happiness." These beliefs are not truths. They are just stories you've told yourself over time. To practice self-love, confront these ideas and replace them with positive attitudes. Recognize that you have the capacity to change your tale, rewrite your narrative, and step into a life filled with love, joy, and plenty. Letting up of limiting beliefs will free you from the constraints that hold you back and allow you to embrace your full potential. Building self-love also entails forgiving oneself. Everyone makes errors and has moments of vulnerability. Holding on to guilt, shame, or regret leaves you imprisoned in the past. To fully love yourself, practice forgiveness for yourself and others. Recognize that mistakes are part of life and don't define who you are. You are worthy of forgiveness, and you deserve to go forward. Let go of the past, appreciate the lessons it has taught you, and focus on the present. Each new day is an opportunity to start anew and create the life you deserve. Lastly, practicing self-care and self-love requires accepting the idea of balance. Life isn't about perfection, it's about balance. It's about caring for your physical, mental, and emotional health while making time for the people, passions, and activities that bring you joy. It's about finding the proper rhythm for your life and creating space for the things that mean most to you. When you practice self-care, your attention shapes your future. The power of focus cannot be overstated. It's the driving force behind everything you do. It influences where you'll finish up. Your future is molded by the decisions you make today, and those decisions depend on where you choose to set your concentration. If you focus on growth, you'll grow. If you focus on excuses, your life will be filled with them. Where your attention travels, your energy flows, and that energy will either build you up or keep you down. Life is full with distractions, people, situations, temptations, and countless other things that can take your focus. But here's the thing, the more you focus on distractions, the less you focus on yourself, your goals, and your vision for the future. The world is full of distractions that can lure you away from your right path. But if you're serious about designing your future, you must learn to ignore them. Be selective about where you place your concentration. Every time you focus on something that doesn't align with your goals, you lose vital energy and time that could have been better spent on your aspirations. Serve your future by spending your time effectively, since every second spent not working towards your dreams is gone. One of the most powerful skills you have is the capacity to choose where to focus. You have the power to select what genuinely important and where your attention should go. Your destiny is not determined by luck, circumstances, or the acts of others. It is determined by the decisions you make. The most essential decision you make every day is where to direct your focus. The beauty of this is that it offers you control. You are in charge of your life, and your future is determined totally by your attention. Focus on your goals, and everything else will fall into place. When you're clear on your destination and the goals you want to attain, everything gets easier. You won't get distracted by the noise, nor will you be swayed by viewpoints or diversions. When you have a clear goal and focus intently on it, every decision you make fits with that purpose. Your activities become purposeful, and each day takes you closer to the person you desire to become. But here's the key: focus demands discipline. It necessitates that you make a conscious effort daily to disregard what doesn't matter. This is where most individuals falter. They get distracted by others' opinions, the promise of rapid gratification, or the dread of failure. These diversions pull their attention away from their aims. But successful people don't fall into this trap. They stay concentrated, never letting anything or anyone to distract them off their course. To be genuinely focused, you need to be selective about where you direct your energy. You can't afford to waste it on things that won't move you closer to your dreams. Every second counts. Every minute spent focusing on someone else's achievement, drama, or opinions is a minute you could have invested in better yourself, learning, or working toward your goals. The energy you invest today influences your future. If you're overwhelmed by negativity, distractions, or comparisons, that energy will travel with you. But if you focus on growth, learning, and self-development, your future will match that. It's crucial to recognize that focusing on the future doesn't mean neglecting the present. It means making the present count. It's about living in the now while being conscious of where you're headed. When your concentration is aligned with your goals, every action you perform today becomes a step toward your future. You behave with purpose. You no longer waste time. You realize that everything you do today is establishing the basis for tomorrow. How you show up each day influences your long-term success. Your attention operates like a compass, leading you in the proper way. But like any compass, it's necessary to check it periodically to ensure you're on course. If you veer off, a simple tweak is all it takes to get back on course. This is why remaining aware of where your focus is vital. The more consistently you focus on your goals and vision, the more powerful your future becomes. You begin to perceive opportunities where others see obstacles. You build habits that support your achievement. Your mind becomes your biggest asset. Let's talk about distractions. They are everywhere: social media, gossip, TV, and other people's troubles. These items can grab your focus without you even recognizing it. They offer the illusion of progress, but don't move you any closer to your goals. If you waste too much time on them, you'll find yourself stuck, unable to move forward. But here's the thing: you have control over how much time you let distractions take. The instant you recognize a distraction for what it is, you can choose to ignore it. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your future. Every time you put your phone down, stop scrolling, and focus on what counts, you're growing closer to the person you want to become. Your future isn't shaped by luck. It's shaped by the focus and attention you give to what matters most. It's built by the decisions you make now. If you focus on self-improvement, your future will be full with opportunity. If you focus on creating solid relationships, your future will be filled with support and affection. If you focus on your health, your future will be filled with energy and vitality. Everything you focus on now becomes part of your future. So make sure your concentration is intentional, meaningful, and linked with who you want to become. As you continue on your quest, remember that attention is the key. It's the one thing that can truly shape your destiny. It's the thing that will carry you through bad times and keep you moving forward when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Focus on what counts. Focus on your goals. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself, because the more you focus on your future, the more that future will reflect that attention. This doesn't imply there won't be failures or hurdles along the way. Life is full with them. But when you're focused on your goals, setbacks become opportunities to learn, and hurdles become stepping stones to success. The more focused you are, the more resilient you become. Your focus will help you weather the storms and emerge stronger on the other side. It's a process, and that process starts with where you concentrate your attention. So, where is your attention right now? Is it on the things that propel you forward, or is it caught on diversions that keep you back? The good news is you can always change your focus. You have the capacity to select where you concentrate your attention, and by doing so, you shape your destiny. Stay focused on what counts, and watch how your life transforms. People often carry events that simply weigh them down. These items don't contribute to their growth or success. They don't make them better. Instead, they leave individuals stagnate, exhausted, and frustrated. If you want to move forward in life, you need to start eliminating everything that doesn't add value into your surroundings. Think about it. How much of your day is spent on things that don't genuinely matter? It's easy to get caught in life's distractions, endless scrolling on social media, pointless conversations that lead nowhere, unhealthy habits that drain you, and negative influences that hold you back. All these things consume room in your head, time, and energy, yet they don't bring value. They don't push you ahead or bring you closer to your goals. In reality, they do the opposite. They inhibit growth and muddle your vision. The first step in removing what doesn't provide value is recognizing it for what it is. This takes ruthless honesty. Are the things you do helping you become the person you want to be? Are the people in your life encouraging you to grow or keeping you back? Are your habits moving you toward your objectives or keeping you stuck? It's easy to settle into a pattern and not notice how much time you're wasting. You might not even be aware of how much energy you give to things that don't important. But here's the truth. You determine where your focus goes. You determine what warrants your time and attention. This is your life, and you have the power to shape it. If you want a better future, start cutting away what doesn't serve you. This isn't just about physical clutter. It's also about emotional, mental, and social clutter. Let's start with the physical. We live in a world that encourages us to amass goods. We buy more than we need, hold on to items we don't use, and fill our houses with objects that take up space but bring no joy. Whether it's clothes you seldom wear, devices collecting dust, or old memories that no longer serve you, physical clutter is draining. It saps your energy, takes up room, and adds extra stress. But by getting rid of what you don't need, you create place for what actually counts. Decluttering isn't simply about clearing up. It's about making space for a life that resonates with your aspirations. Now, let's talk about mental clutter. The thoughts that dominate your mind shape your reality. If you constantly concentrate on previous failures, worry about the future, or overthink everything, you're not present in the moment. Your mind is filled with negativity and diversions, blocking you from focusing on what's important. As a result, you can't completely invest in your goals or growth. To eliminate mental clutter, practice mindfulness. Train your thoughts to stay in the present. Let go of concerns, doubts, and worries that don't serve your goal. Choose thoughts that elevate and motivate you instead of ones that keep you down. Social clutter is another area that often goes overlooked. The people surrounding you have a huge impact on your thinking and success. If you're continually surrounded by negativity, unsupportive individuals, or people who don't line with your beliefs, they're taking up space in your life that could be better filled with positive influences. The individuals in your circle should inspire, challenge, and encourage you. If they don't, it's time to reconsider those ties. Don't feel bad about removing yourself from folks that don't contribute value to your life. Protect your energy. Surround yourself with individuals that encourage you to grow and honestly care about your well-being. Eliminating what doesn't offer value also applies to daily habits. Your behaviors create the foundation of your existence. If your habits squander time or deplete your energy, they impede you from living in harmony with your goals. How much time do you lose scrolling through social media, watching TV, or participating in meaningless activities? These routines can easily develop a rut. If you want to achieve progress, replace them with habits that support your objective. Focus on routines that get you closer to your goals, like exercising, reading, meditating, or honing your talents. Small positive improvements pile up over time and produce a huge impact on your future. As you eliminate what doesn't bring value, you'll notice a shift in your mentality. You'll feel lighter, more focused, and more energized. You'll see possibilities where you once saw roadblocks. You'll attract people and situations that coincide with your vision. By removing what holds you back, you make space for success, happiness, and fulfillment. It's crucial to understand that reducing what doesn't offer value doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that needs self-discipline and consistency, but the results are worth it. The more you focus on what genuinely matters, the more your life aligns with your mission. The more you remove distractions and negativity, the clearer your path becomes. As you continue this practice, you'll automatically attract what does offer value, success, pleasure, progress, and fulfillment. The secret is to start small. Take it one step at a time. Identify areas where you're clinging onto items that no longer serve you and begin deleting them. It might be as simple as cleaning out your closet, breaking links with harmful people, or creating boundaries with your time. The more you practice deleting what doesn't provide value, the easier it gets to recognize what does. Remember, you are in control of your life. You select where to invest your time, energy, and attention. By reducing distractions, you create space for what actually matters. When you focus on what's vital, you offer yourself the best opportunity at success. Your future depends on the decisions you make now, and removing what doesn't serve you is one of the most powerful choices you can make.